They will never say it to your face. But they feel it. When you walk into a room, they sit straighter. When you speak, they fall quiet. When you listen, they grow uncomfortable. That is the power of a mind that does not need validation. A mind forged in silence. Trained in resistance. Built in solitude. Most people fear storms. But when your mind becomes the calm within it, you become untouchable. And that scares people. Not because you harm them, but because they cannot move you. They cannot manipulate you. They cannot figure out how you are so composed when they would be falling apart. And that mystery, that stillness, that self-control, becomes your silent weapon. In a world where everyone reacts, your power will come from restraint. In a culture obsessed with applause, your strength will grow in silence. This is not about being cold. It is about being prepared. Stoic wisdom does not teach you to shut off emotion. It teaches you to master it. You will still feel. But your feelings will not control you. You will still face pain. But your pain will not break you. Because the man who builds a mind that cannot be shaken, cannot be controlled. And that man will always stand out. Not through noise, but through presence. Through clarity. Through power that does not shout, but settles like stone. You are here to become that man. One decision, one habit, one mindset at a time. If that is the journey you want to walk, I invite you to subscribe to Stoic Legacy. Not just for views, but because the world needs fewer victims and more men who carry peace like a sword. Let's begin. Part 1. Train your nervous system to stop reacting. This is the beginning of true power. Most people are not living their lives. They are simply reacting to everything around them. A comment, a glance, a notification, a delay. Every little thing becomes a spark that sets off a wildfire of emotions. They get angry, defensive, jealous, anxious. Their nervous system is so overstimulated that silence feels like a threat. But when you train your nervous system to stop reacting, everything changes. You are no longer dancing to the tune of chaos. You are no longer a slave to your impulses. You learn to pause. You learn to breathe. You learn to observe what most men immediately respond to. And that space between trigger and reaction becomes the very thing that sets you apart. Marcus Aurelius said it clearly. If you are disturbed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment. Imagine how unstoppable you become when you no longer take anything personally. When someone insults you and you do not flinch. When a crisis hits and you do not collapse. When life throws curveballs and you meet them with calm eyes and a still spirit. That is not weakness. That is mental dominance. That is what scares people. Because most people want a reaction out of you. They want to shake your peace to feel stronger. But when you give them silence, when you give them poise, they are left facing themselves. And that makes them uncomfortable. The modern world is designed to keep you overstimulated. Addicted to reaction. Addicted to emotion. But the Stoic man learns to detach. Not out of apathy, but out of strength. He learns to recognize the feeling without becoming the feeling. He learns to acknowledge the chaos without being consumed by it. This is how you build a mind so strong it scares people. You do not need to dominate others. You dominate your inner response. Every time you resist the urge to lash out, you grow stronger. Every moment you choose calm over chaos, you become sharper. When the world is burning, you walk through it like stone. That is not just Stoicism. That is self-mastery. And it begins when you train your nervous system to stop reacting. Part 2. Stop trying to be understood. One of the most exhausting pursuits in life is the need to be understood by everyone. It drains your energy, clouds your clarity, and keeps your mind chained to other people's perceptions. But if you want to build a mind so strong it scares people, you must stop trying to be understood. Because the truth is, most people do not even understand themselves. They are walking through life wearing masks they did not choose, repeating opinions they never examined, chasing goals they do not even want. And in that confusion, they will try to put you in a box that makes them comfortable. If you refuse that box, they will resent you. If you stay silent, they will accuse you. If you stand firm, they will misunderstand you. Let them. The need to be understood is the need to be approved, just dressed in spiritual language. You do not need approval. You need clarity. You do not need validation. You need solitude. Stop explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You owe them nothing. Not your justification, not your narrative, not your wounds. The more you try to be understood, the more you bend yourself into shapes that do not belong to you. And in that bending, you forget who you are. You become fragile, reactive, easily manipulated. But when you stop trying to be understood, your energy returns. Your focus sharpens. Your presence grows heavier. People will feel it. They will not know why, but they will sense that you are no longer trying to impress or convince. And that makes you dangerous in a world where everyone else is begging to be seen. Epictetus said, "Seek not for events to happen as you wish, but wish for events to happen as they do, and your life will flow smoothly." This includes how others see you. Let them misread your silence. Let them invent stories about your calm. Let them fear your stillness. You do not need to correct them. You are not here to be understood. You are here to be unshakable. When your mind is clear, when your mission is sacred, when your peace is non-negotiable, you will be misunderstood often. And that is the price of inner power. The man who no longer chases understanding from others becomes a mirror. He reflects their confusion. He exposes their projections. And in doing so, he becomes untouchable. Stop trying to be understood. Start becoming undeniable. Part 3. Speak with precision or stay silent. Part 3. Speak with precision or stay silent. There is a reason the wise speak less. It is not because they have nothing to say, but because they understand the weight of their words. Every time you speak carelessly, you leak power. You reveal too much, you signal weakness, you expose your chaos. But when you speak with precision or stay silent, your words begin to carry a force that most people are not used to. And that force unsettles them. In a noisy world full of opinions and overexposure, a man who is selective with his speech becomes unpredictable, and unpredictability breeds respect. You do not need to be mysterious on purpose. You just need to be intentional. Your thoughts are sacred. Your inner world is not for public consumption. Most people speak to be liked, to be validated, to escape the discomfort of silence. But the Stoic speaks only when the words are necessary. Speak with precision or stay silent, because your silence is not emptiness. It is control. It is awareness. It is a boundary. When you are calm and observant and say less than what you know, you begin to intimidate people without even trying. They project meaning onto your silence. They wonder what you are thinking. They question what you see that they do not. That is the essence of presence. Your presence should speak louder than your mouth ever does. And when you do speak, speak slowly, speak directly, speak with purpose. Avoid filler. Avoid drama. Avoid convincing. A man who constantly tries to explain himself reveals that he is unsure of himself. But a man who speaks clearly and then lets his silence hold the weight, that man is unshakable. He cannot be baited. He cannot be dragged into useless arguments. He cannot be manipulated through emotion. Marcus Aurelius reminded us that very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. Extend that principle to your speech. Say less. Mean more. Let your silence do the heavy lifting. Part 4. Make your mind your home. Most people are scared to be alone, not because they lack company, but because they have never made peace with their own mind. They distract themselves endlessly, filling the silence with noise, the boredom with stimulation, the emptiness with shallow pleasure. But if you want to build a mind so strong it scares people, you must learn to make your mind your home. That means you stop running from yourself. You stop fearing your own thoughts. You stop needing the world to give you what you refuse to give yourself. This is where the true transformation begins. Because once you are at home within your own head, no one can exile you. No insult can destabilize you. No betrayal can collapse you. You become centered. You become still. You become sovereign. The Stoics did not fear solitude. They welcomed it. Seneca wrote that a man who is never alone is never free. That is the truth most people avoid. Because when you are alone, your truth catches up to you. Your wounds show up. Your regrets knock. Your insecurities whisper. But that is the training ground. That is the battlefield. And only the man who stays present in that battlefield without retreating becomes powerful. So sit with your mind. Sit without distraction. Observe your thoughts like clouds, passing, floating, dissolving. Stop fighting your mind. Start learning from it. When it races, slow it down. When it worries, reassure it. When it attacks you, speak to it with compassion, not fear. Because when you make your mind your home, you stop being a prisoner of other people's chaos. You become your own sanctuary. A man who is at home within himself walks differently. He listens more. He reacts less. He chooses his actions with clarity. And most importantly, he cannot be controlled. When others try to trigger him, they find no response. When they try to confuse him, they find no weakness. Because his roots are internal. Not in people. Not in trends. Not in applause. And that scares people. It scares them because they cannot understand how you can remain so calm while everything around you burns. But you are calm because you trained for it. You are calm because your peace is not based on the external. It is built deep inside your mind, and that mind is your fortress. Make your mind your home, and you will never be homeless in this world again. Part 5. Train your mind like a weapon. You would not carry a sword into battle if it were dull, rusted, or fragile. So why do so many walk through life with an untrained mind, reacting to everything, broken by criticism, paralyzed by fear? A man who does not train his mind becomes a servant to his emotions. He cannot think clearly under pressure. He breaks under adversity. He seeks escape instead of strategy. If you want to build a mind so strong it scares people, you must train your mind like a weapon. That means you put it through pressure, deliberately, consistently, with discipline. You expose it to discomfort. You teach it to hold focus when the world is pulling for distraction. You teach it to return to reason when emotions scream for attention. You teach it to remain still when chaos demands a reaction. This is not something you read your way into. This is forged through action. Wake up earlier than you want to. Delay gratification until your mind stops whining. Study something hard when your brain begs for rest. Push your body until your thoughts go silent. Challenge your assumptions. Starve your impulses. Watch your reactions without indulging them. Because each repetition sharpens the blade. And soon, your mind becomes fast but steady, sharp but calm. Most people train their bodies, but they never train their focus. They train their skills, but never their patience. They chase stimulation, but never sit in silence. That is why they are so easily shaken. But not you. You do not carry a dull weapon. You are learning to train your mind like a weapon. You are learning to anticipate instead of react. You are learning to think 3 moves ahead while others are stuck on what just happened. Marcus Aurelius reminded us that the happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts. Make those thoughts disciplined. Make them intentional. Make them unbreakable. Because when you do, you become terrifying in the best way possible. You become a man who cannot be manipulated by trends, by outrage, by weakness disguised as comfort. You become a man who walks into the battlefield of life and knows that whatever comes, his mind is ready. That kind of power is not loud. It is not boastful. It is not performative. It is silent. It is internal. And it changes how you speak, how you walk, how you lead. Train your mind like a weapon, and you will not need to prove anything to anyone. They will feel it in your presence. Part 6. Stop explaining yourself to weak minds. You do not owe an explanation to people who refuse to understand you. You do not have to justify your strength to those who feel threatened by it. The truth is, when your mind becomes disciplined, focused, and untouchable, weak minds will try to pull you back down into their confusion. They will mock your silence, question your motives, accuse you of arrogance, simply because they cannot grasp the depth of your self-control. But you must stop explaining yourself to weak minds. Because every time you try to convince them, you drain your energy. Every time you seek validation from the crowd, you dilute your clarity. Every time you lower your frequency to be accepted, you lose the very power that made you different. A strong mind does not chase applause. It builds in silence, walks alone if needed, and speaks only when speaking adds value. When people misunderstand your purpose, let them. When they mislabel your stillness as indifference, let them. When they accuse your boundaries of being cruel, let them. Your clarity does not require their approval. Your mission does not need their permission. You are not here to be understood by everyone. You are here to walk a path that most people are too scared to even look at. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that what stands in the way becomes the way. But often, the real obstacle is the need to be liked. Let go of that need. Let go of the urge to be relatable. Let go of the fear of being different. Because when you stop explaining yourself to weak minds, you begin building a life that strong minds respect. You begin attracting those who value growth over gossip, truth over comfort, and discipline over drama. You stop feeding the opinions of people who are not even disciplined enough to control their own emotions. That is freedom. That is power. And that is how you keep your mind strong, focused, and untouchable. Do not water down your intensity to make others feel comfortable. Do not shrink to fit into small conversations. Do not carry the burden of trying to be understood by those who have never stepped into the fire like you have. Let your actions speak. Let your silence echo. Let your discipline lead. The more you explain yourself to weak minds, the more you validate their ignorance. But when you stop explaining, when you simply walk your path with calm eyes and a sharp mind, they feel it. And that feeling changes everything. Part 7. Let your peace become your power. The loudest man is often the weakest. True power is quiet, still, grounded. When you master your reactions, when your emotions stay calm under pressure, people feel it. That is when you let your peace become your power. You do not chase arguments or explain your every move. You do not respond to every insult or let chaos shake your center. You walk through storms with steady eyes. And that unsettles those who thrive on drama. You rise above noise because you no longer need to be understood. You know who you are. You do not respond for approval. You respond only when it serves your growth. That calm strength is rare. It is unsettling to the weak and magnetic to the strong. People cannot manipulate you when you are not desperate to be liked. They cannot control you when you no longer fear silence. Marcus Aurelius lived this truth: peace is not the absence of conflict, it is mastery over your mind in the middle of it. You are no longer controlled by noise. You have become the calm in the chaos. That is real power. If this message hits something deep in you, let it sit in your mind for a while. Do not rush. Just remember, the world doesn't need more noise.